What's up to all of my people, and welcome to Stoniecast number 138 and season 4, episode 36. The season finale of Thoughts and Hunches, making money in bunches and sucker punches. It's your boy Stony coming back at you for the 138th time. And I'd like to welcome all of my fellow lowlifes, scumbags, hoodlums, shady characters, anybody named Phil Mickelson, Bruno Mars, Cruz, or Shohei Parlay Ohtani. Altar boys with unhealthy relationships with their priests. Hustlers, foul-mouthed raging alcoholics. MLB players that have gotten into a fight with Bryce Harper. Cheats, friends and family of the gooch. Fienders with abusive language, and degenerates. Let's face it, basically anybody with a massive gambling problem. If you're new to the show, hey, that means you probably fit into one or a few of those categories, Cruz. So welcome, because you're one of us. One of us. Gooba gobble, one of us. We accepted one of us. You know, every now and then you get a little kind of carried away, right? But hey, make sure you hit the subscribe button right down here in the lower right-hand corner. That way you can get notified every time I put out a new video. And to spread the word's also very easy. Just tell other degenerates and scumbags, you know, like Cruz, to go to YouTube and enter Thoughts and Hunches in the search bar. That'll take you directly to my page and you can get dialed into everything that I give you. Also, if you're new and you don't know what's what with this channel, it's very simple. It's college and pro football winners, MLB playoff winners, and college basketball winners. The books don't expect a guy like me, right, to come in and deliver this many winners. I'm an outlier and a disruptor, right? I'm like the Beastie Boys.
Jazz and Engwall, that's our team! Step inside the party, disrupt the whole scene!
I'm a disruptor, all right? I disrupt the whole process, right? That's exactly what I do. I go to the mattresses and get the info for you every week in order to get you to the window with a ticket to cash. Now, before I get to the picks, as usual, I have some thoughts. Tomorrow night's national championship is set after last night's Final Four, and we've got shock, baby. The two best teams in the nation over the past two seasons will meet tomorrow, and the naysayers will come up with the narrative that there's no Cinderellas, despite the fact that last year's Final Four had 3 Cinderellas, yet the narrative was, where's the chalk? The men's tournament just simply can't win in the eyes of the talking heads, but the women's game can do no wrong these days. For some strange reason, aside from watching bad basketball. In the history of the tournament, there's never been a surprise champion because it's always chalked up with favorites reaching the Final Four in the national championship, right? Now everybody, not named Stony, is excited about this year's national title, and it's all because of one player. Sure, USC is undefeated, and no matter who wins the game, eyes will be tuned in to watch Caitlin Clark. That's the story. The men's tournament tomorrow night will destroy the women's tournament in ratings, but the narrative will be about the record number of viewers for the women, who would lose by 80 points to either Connecticut or Purdue. I'll get to that in a minute. Let me switch gears here for a moment and bring up the sad state of affairs regarding the Oakland Athletics. Yeah, I know the average sports fan doesn't pay attention to baseball until October, just like college basketball with March. But since this is the season finale of Thoughts and Hunches, I thought I'd give you all something to chew on over the summer until season 5 kicks off with college football in August. From 1983 to 1995, the Oakland Coliseum was a beautiful ballpark to watch baseball. Believe me, I grew up there. And despite being a Giants fan, I went to tons of A's games because it was closer, cheaper, the weather was better, and there was never anybody there. So you can go in and sit wherever you wanted. In 1995, the Raiders came back from La La Land, and they completely destroyed the Coliseum, ruining it for the A's. What used to be a beautiful ballpark turned into a football stadium, and it was toast. The attendance immediately took a massive dip because of this, except for a few years in the early 2000s when the A's were pretty good. Actually, they were very good. The Raiders wanted luxury suites, which they never got, so they moved to Las Vegas and got the world's greatest football stadium, while the A's are still waiting for their new stadium that the Raiders ruined. Now there's plenty of fingers to point at as to who's to blame, okay? The A's ownership group, the Oakland mayor's office, the Alameda County Council, the fans, etc. The list goes on and on. I think they're all to blame. Okay, it's easy for the fans to point at the ownership group because they've been awful, let's face it. But the Alameda County Council is a total mess, and the Oakland mayor's office is a disaster. And the fans are just as bad. For all their talk about being great fans, they always finish at the bottom of MLB standings in attendance. Even in the years when the A's were competitive, fans would show up on opening night, which still confounds me that they don't play on opening day like 95% of the MLB. During Yankees games, Red Sox games, or Giants games, when the visiting team's fans would come in and take over the stadium. Or if the A's made the playoffs. That was it. Other than that, on a Wednesday night against Seattle in the middle of July, you think anyone's going out there? No, nobody was going there, right? Last week, their ownership sunk to a new low. They sent down one of their top prospects, Estuary Ruiz, I think that's how it's pronounced, despite the fact that he was leading the team in hitting. The story is that they sent him down because he was wearing a bracelet from a fan that said, "Sell the team," which has been a rallying cry from the fans over the past 2 years as soon as the ownership group struck a deal to move to Las Vegas. Then there's the bizarre action of the fans. Last year, they staged what they called a reverse protest, which makes absolutely no sense at all. Hey, let's all show up to the game, boo, and chant, "Sell the team." That'll show them. Well, no, it didn't. Now the fans are showing up in the parking lot, and they're partying with food trucks and bars instead of going into the games, despite the fact that after this season, the A's will be gone for good, moving to West Sacramento for the next 3 years while their new stadium on the Las Vegas Strip is being built. Growing up in Oakland, my father made me a San Francisco fan. And while I've never been a fan of the Raiders, the A's, or the Warriors, I still never wanted any of them to leave Oakland. God, no. Why would I want that? The city is a mess. And without some sort of unifying factor like a professional sports franchise, Oakland is sure to only get worse. So shame on everyone from my home city. Politics, ownership, and fans are all to blame for this being the last year of any professional baseball in Oakland, because it ain't coming back, no matter how many trademarks you keep about keeping the name Oakland A's. As for programming, this is it. Like I said, this is the season finale of season 4, and yes, it was another winning season. I will take the next few months off, and I'll return in late August for what is known as week 0 of college football, but Stoniecast 139 will debut as season 5, episode 1. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button right down there, so that way you can get notified when the video comes out, so you don't have to go look for it or blow me up like asking, "When's it coming? When's it coming?" So far this week, we've only had 5 games to bet on, with the NIT in the Final Four last night. And I'm sitting at 5-5 on the week after going 2-2 yesterday. I keep getting splits this week. I either hit the total or the side, but never both, and I never miss both. Unlike some people named Cruz, I give you my picks beforehand and don't wait until afterwards, show you a winning ticket, and declare, "I know college hoops." I don't do that, right? Full transparency. Both favorites hit in the Final Four, but I had NC State covering, and I got a split there. As for the totals, I hit the under easily in the first game, but missed the total by 3 points in the nightcap. So the numbers have been solid all season, and I'm firmly entrenched into a 58% on the season and 60% for college basketball's postseason. Last time I checked, that ain't too bad. Teddy, tell us.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Please remember now that all of these picks are 100% free. So for all the touts out there, Cruz, who thinks he's a tout, and gives you 75 to 80% winners, come on. We all know you're full of shit. Plus you're charging for these picks. Now with me, you just come to YouTube every week and I'll drop my plays on you for free. One last thought before I get to the national championship. Someone I know, and no names are needed, Cruz, reached a new low yesterday when a wager was placed on female under 18 Filipino basketball. You can't make this up, and I'm not making this up. Yes, this is true. Stop for a moment while I take a sip from my water and let that sink in. Unreal. Yeah, a degenerate who clearly needs to dial 1-800-GAMBLER actually placed a bet on Filipino under 18 girls because they're not women yet. Basketball. Ouch. Well, that's it. Okay, you ready? Of course you are. Let's get it going. Tomorrow night, NCAA National Championship at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona at 9:20 Eastern on TBS, where the Connecticut Huskies are 6.5-point favorites over the Purdue Boilermakers, and the total right now is listed at 145.5. The line opened at 6. It's since been bet up to 6.5. Purdue is trying to do what Virginia did 5 years ago when, after being eliminated the season before by a 16 seed, come back and win the national title the following season. Purdue not only won all 5 games in the tournament, but they also covered all 5. Grambling State and Utah State were the first 2 victims, followed by Gonzaga and Tennessee last weekend en route to winning the Midwest Regional, before taking out North Carolina State's Cinderella season last night in the Final Four. The Boilermakers are trying to win their first ever national championship. And in order to do so, back-to-back Player of the Year Zach Edey absolutely must go off in order for the Boilermakers to pull this one off. I've said it many times before that he gets 20-10 just by getting out of bed. But 20-10 won't win this game. Trey Kaufman-Wren and Mason Gillis off the bench help Edey out a lot inside and on the glass. But the key to the success for Purdue lies in their 3-guard offense. Point man Braden Smith is the catalyst, and his toughness getting to the glass is a huge weapon for Purdue. Fletcher Lawyer and Lance Jones stretch the defense and bury the 3-ball. Jones has especially been hot lately and went for 14 last night. Purdue only has basically about a 6-man rotation that head coach Matt Painter trusts, so expect a lot of heavy breathing from Purdue if they expect to keep up with the Huskies in this one, because the Huskies are going to try to turn this into a track meet. Connecticut is the best team in the nation and has been for 2 years as they attempt to go back-to-back in winning the East region. UConn took out Stetson and Northwestern in the first weekend. San Diego State and Illinois to reach the Final Four before wearing out Alabama last night. Big man Donovan Clingan will be tasked with guarding Edey, but it's just as dangerous for Edey to guard Clingan because he can fill up a stat sheet. Like he did that last night. He had 18 and 5, including 4 blocks. Alex Caravan had 14 and 8 last night and can drill threes and get to the glass. Samson Johnson is one of the 4 bench players that head coach Dan Hurley uses, but the Huskies' 4-guard rotation is absolutely deadly. Cam Spencer, Tristan Newton, and Stephon Castle can all rebound and hit the 3, while Hassan Diarra comes off the bench and plays 25 minutes a night. Castle had a huge game last night, going for 21 and leading UConn in scoring, and he added 5 boards as well, right? Not too bad for a true freshman who won't be around much longer. As for the breakdown, Edey is so dominant in the low post when he gets the ball to him. If you double him, he passes out of it really well, but I think you have to double down on him because when he puts it on the deck, he's very dangerous. Sure, he had a few turnovers last night when he put it on the floor, but Connecticut can't allow the Boilermakers' backcourt to kill them from downtown, which they will if you allow them to. Conversely, the Huskies have to pull Edie away from the basket with screens, cutting, and movement, which is what they do. This is the key to the game. The question is, how is Purdue's defense going to get stops? Because UConn comes at you in waves, and they wear down their opponents to the point where the Huskies' offense has really been a joy to watch all season long. Purdue's a very complete team, but Connecticut is playing at a level right now that we're not used to seeing. And their bench is that much better than Purdue's. And even though all 5 starters for UConn scored in double figures last night, their bench is still amazing and will be the deciding factor here as the Huskies pull away late. Head coach Dan Hurley told his team something that they already know. They're playing for history. This is the best program in the nation, and they prove it once again tomorrow night. Give me the Huskies, lay the 6, and give me under 146.5. So that's it. Before I go, I'd like to thank all of my faithful viewers for tuning in, spreading the word, and giving me feedback all season long. If you've had as much as I've had, as much fun making these videos, then I know it was all worth it, especially when you're cashing tickets, because that's the whole point of this. Remember to look back for me in August for Stoniecast 139 and the premiere of Season 5. So until then, just remember that if you want to win big, you got to bet big. You can't go broke taking a profit. Scared money don't make money. Now for me, the action is the juice. There's money on the streets that can't be ignored. And finally, good luck to you. Gooch, I love you and I miss you, brother. I really miss you this time of year. Teddy, take us home.
Pay that man his money.
Have a good one, all.